crafting is a trap in Path of Exile 2. So before you reach endgame, you better stop crafting and start trading. Especially considering now you can trade right inside of game client. But there is multiple levels to trading. And there is loads of ways how you can get scammed. So in this video I will show everything you need about trading. And it's really important because yesterday I decided to record beginner's guide. And I thought it's a good idea to drop one of the best amulets in the game on the floor, as well as my mirror tier quarter stuff and basically best gear in the game. Guess what? Turns out without gear I'm not that powerful. Well, that's how my character looks right now. So let's trade. To start trading you just need to go into menu and open market panel. If you're playing on controller, it will be in pause menu. You can open market. And to trade you just need currency. It can be either exalted orbs, chaos orbs or divine orbs, which will be most common currency is used when trading. First of all, to start trading you need hideout. And fastest way where you can unlock hideout is to reach Act 4, talk with Ench, and then travel to Wakapanu Island. On this island there's shoreline hideout, basically you clear out this island, then you go back to Ench and she will unlock your hideout. From this point you will be able to use waypoint to travel to your hideout, or you can just type /hideout and you will be teleported there from town. There's different hideouts, and the one that you will unlock will be shoreline hideout. Technically from this point you can start trading and you can start selling items if you got premium stash tabs. But also there's new way how you can trade. There's Ench in your hideout and she got shop. And this is new type of tabs. If you want to sell items, you can buy them separately, but if you got any premium stash tabs before this leak launched, there's actually a section on official website that will give you ability to change your basic tabs to Ench tabs. What is the difference? When you're using premium stash tabs, items listed as basic trades between players. So someone will need to whisper you and ask for trade, then you need to invite him to the party, get back to your hideout, get your item from your stash, initiate trade, put your item, get your currency from the player, and trade is done. If you're using Ench stash tabs, this items is instant buyout, so you can instantly teleport and buy them. I will show it later. Now, as I told you, there's levels to trading, and first level is basic upgrades. Actually, this level can be started right when you arrive to Act 4, basically. You will unlock Ench, you will unlock trading, and you can upgrade your character to beat this act a lot faster. At this level, you don't care about a lot of stuff, so we can go into market, and technically why you can buy any equipment before you reach real endgame, at least level 60 plus, basically beat full campaign. I recommend to only trade for weapons. So today examples will be for mercenary, since I'm playing mercenary, but it can be applied to any class of course. At first level of trading we will use type filters. So for example, we want to increase power of our weapon, we will go into crossbow section and we can search for crossbows. That's what we got. Loads of crossbows. You can sort them by DPS. It's most simple way how you can find like best ones. As you can see, there will be a fee, so we need to pay gold. Basically that's instant buyout future, so I can travel to this person hideout by clicking on this button, I will show it later, and we will just buy item, but it costs 15 divines. Of course we don't have 15 divines at this point of the game, therefore we need to check what currency we have. If you got loads of different orbs right now, maybe you got chaos orbs, maybe you got orbs of alchemy at your arsenal, then you can use exalted orb equivalent in buyout price. If you got only exalted orbs for trading, then pick exalted orbs. Maybe you got only orbs of augmentation. Let's find out what crossbows can we buy for orbs of augmentation. Well, there is bunch of them. So if your crossbow is really bad, then you can buy this one for just one orb of augmentation and extra gold fee. How to buy without gold fee? Well, you can list instant buyout and in-person trades, or only in-person trades. This is only in-person trades. We will whisper, not teleport to his hideout, and we need to wait until we're able to trade with him. So he will invite us in a party and we will buy this crossbow. Let's just do it. But his auto reply, this player is AFK, but not today. So we're in a party, now we will visit his hideout, but he's actually in Ardura Caravan, so probably I will try to like teleport to Ardura Caravan. Now we're chatting, so we're teleporting to Clearfell, not encampment. Now we get in trade. Finally we can give him Orb of Augmentation, check crossbow. After you check, you can press accept. Before you checked weapon, you can't do it. Now we need to leave party, and we finally can get back to our hideout. And that's excellent demonstration how outdated our current trade system is. So we just wasted a bunch of time for each of us. This crossbow goes to trash, and that's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing experience. So let's get back to trading, and let's just say we got only exalted orbs. And that's another problem with trading. So it's again just level 1 trading. We just completed a trade, but as you can see, everything is completely blank. So there's no ways how you can save trade search right now. What do I mean by this? For example, if you search for crossbow with exalted orbs, and that will cost you just 1 exalted orb. Don't pay more than 1 exalted orb for gear in a campaign. That's it. Now we will look only for instant buyout, sort them by DPS, and that's what you can get for like instant buyout DPS. You need to be a little bit cautious if you're looking for items, and when you see this green bars over here, they added this on the website also. Item is corrupted. Basically, this prefixes or suffixes locked. Corrupted item locks everything. This means you can't craft on this item. So this crossbow will just have nice DPS, but it's level 62. So that's another problem when you're searching for items in a campaign. You want your items to be sufficient level for you. To make it easier for you, basically try to estimate your level in campaign. And you want to go into requirements filter. We will turn this on, and we will put our minimum level to level 40, for example, which is our level at start of Act 4, to maybe like 48. Maybe 46, so we can grind a little bit, get level 46 just in case, and get insanely good crossbow. We will search only this range of crossbows for 1 exalted orb, and maximum DPS we can find is 324. Just in case, always check Orb of Augmentation. No one is doing this, of course. Sometimes you can get pretty fun trades with this, but most of the time Exalted Orb is a safe bet. Or you can go Exalted Orb Equivalent, which will also show you Orb of Alchemy and other orbs. And again, sorting by DPS is the best way, because as you can see, someone selling pretty like trash stuff for Orb of Alchemy. Don't buy it, of course. And you need to be really careful with Exalted Orb Equivalent, because it shows only Exalted Orbs equivalents. So that's a bad search if you're looking for something for Exalted Orbs. With Chaos Orbs we can buy 296 damage crossbow, but with Exalted Orbs we can get 324. And 1 Exalted Orb is cheaper than Chaos Orb. So get this crossbow and you will be golden. At this point you don't care about loads of other attributes, you just care about raw DPS more often than not. Depending on your build, maybe you don't want fire damage, maybe you don't want some other stats, but there won't be like insane amount of options. Just scroll and pick the best one you want. That's our trading level 1. What is trading level 2? Well, that's technically what I'm doing right now. And this trading starts when you reach end game and you open map device. And this level is not extremely different, but there's a lot more options and a lot more stuff to think about. First of all, basically what do you need in endgame? Technically you just need resistances, but you don't want to invest in your gear extremely heavily, especially at this point, because most powerful gear will come at level 80 plus. Around level 78, that's where most items will peak in their performance. While you may find good item that is level 70, for example, most important part is actually item level. You can hover on item and you will see item level by pressing Alt button. Item level describes what power of affixes you can roll. There's prefixes and suffixes, there's 3 different suffixes, 3 different prefixes can be on item, and again you may check them on PoE 2DB by going into modifiers. For example, for crossbows, there's fixed amount of prefixes and what types of them, and fixed amount of suffixes, what can roll on our crossbow. And there's parameter called item level, minimum item level. So for example, for increased physical damage, you need item level 82, that's item level, to roll maximum increased damage. But at level 75, it's already insanely overpowered items. Again, technically you want higher item level for your items, because let's say your item is level 75, yeah, it can roll highest roll possible with high physical damage, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows that will give you not perfect results. If your item is level 82, it's again 6 rolls that is not perfect for you, but 2 rolls which is perfect, which is again higher chance to get better roll. There's also a lot more depth into it, but you don't need it, and more on that will be in a crafting guide later this season, because you want to craft only later in the game. Right now just look on the ground, pick items, sell them and trade for them. So how do we trade at this point? Basically level 60 is just 2 things. You need powerful crossbow, or powerful weapon basically, and gear that gives you enough resistances. If you don't have resistances, you won't be able to play in end game normally. Elemental damage is just insane, and as you can see for me right now I got lacking cold damage reduction, so cold resistance is a little bit bad for me. If you're completely new to this game and you never played it, you may even don't know that actually if you unequip all your gear you won't have positive resistances. So let me do it. Actually, if you picked all bonuses from campaign, you will have minus 40 resistance to everything. That's because every act you will lose resistance. All bonuses from campaign will be in my campaign guide soon, but for now we're talking about trade, so let's stick to it. Again, what I kinda want to tell you right now is if you just use one exalted orb and drop it on your boots, for example, you may get something pretty useless. But with one exalted orb, you may get insanely valuable and pretty nice gear. At level 60 still, while you can make complete build from scratch, I recommend just unequipping everything. Maybe you already got some nice items. For example, I got this gold ring that got okay-ish extra damage to attacks, different types and some resistances and rarity. So I will use it, but still, if resistance is not perfect, we need to fix it. I will find my weakest link, and it's my belt. Belt is just completely useless, so it's giving me some armor, some strength, but not exactly what I look for. I will unequip this belt and check everything from my skills first and other stuff. I find out that I don't need any extra stats like strength, dexterity, intelligence, therefore let's go to our market. So second level of your trading will be finding out perfect equipment, or at least close to perfect. We will look for belt. If you got any preference, you can actually search for exact belt. I like utility belts, and you can enter just utility belt and look for all utility belts. They are not available, of course, for our current level. They will start at least from level 55, and maximum level right now is 60, so it's perfect for us. Now let's find out, is there any really perfect utility belt for us, and our budget for today is 20 exalted orbs. Now, to find a really perfect belt, you need to use stat filters. Stat filters is pretty simple, but maybe scary at first, because when you open, there's basically unlimited amount of a lot of stuff. But if you know what you're looking for, then it's pretty easy. So I'm looking for cold resistance. I just enter it, and there will be loads of cold resistances. And that's the only problem, but you need to know correct name. So for example, if you're looking for resistance on belt, it will be called plus number percent to type resistance. So it's basically first one, number percent to cold resistance. We will search for it. Now there's two options. We can just sort it by best cold resistance, and the best one you may find is 39 right now, for example. I can find. It will cost me 3 exalted orbs. It will also give me some strength, a little bit of more mana, and what you need to look out for is actually there are any slots left. All these belts right now is 3 exalted orbs, so they are pretty cheap, we can say. But some of them got extra slots. For example, this one got just 3 slots. It rolled pretty nice cold resistance, it got increased flask life recovery rate, life regeneration per second. That's useful stats that I can use on my character. Maximum resistance cap is 75%. At level 60, don't worry, just try to hit at least 60%. With 75, of course, you will feel better, but 60 will be enough. So for me, plus 40% to cold resistance is basically more than enough. But since this belt don't have all affixes, I can drop extra exalted orbs on top, and maybe this will be a really good belt. Now again, problem with in-game search, that when I complete trade, I won't be able to get back to the search. That's why right now I will show you and explain why it's recommended to use at least this button open on website if you got it. Because first of all, it will open the same search on website, and you can search it in different tab ways. So you can search it like this, exactly like in a game, or you can switch to different search so you see more of this belt, but I don't like it. But also you may copy this straight link and reuse the straight link as much as you wish. It will copy just these parameters, so if you're constantly looking for good crossbow but you can't find it, you just copy this link and then reuse it. That's like extra tip, but for now, maybe I want more health. Modifier will be called to maximum life. Let's find out good belt with life and also cold resistance. Now we think all to maximum life and all cold resistance utility belts. So now there will be always two modifiers. Let's sort them by cold resistance. We will see that again maximum is 39 right now, but at the same time this belt will give me 80 armor and maximum life and life regeneration per second, and technically it looks like a good belt, but it costs 15 exalted orbs. But let's see how much maximum life we can get. Well, it's actually 173. So if we wish, we can sacrifice a little bit of cold resistance, but get a lot more maximum life. 200 extra maximum life is big if your character using life in the endgame. And when you're scrolling, you may find a bunch of belts that got nice maximum life, but insanely low cold resistance. It's also really easy to fix this. You want to enter minimum required cold resistance, for example, 30 cold resistance, that's what I will look for. And now I will check maximum life. So this is best one with 33 cold resistance and 163 maximum life. Pretty good one, but what if we want kinda the same deal, but cheaper? Let's say we want cheaper deal, not 15 exalted orbs. You may limit your exalted orb trade search, or you may, for example, decide that you want at least 100 extra maximum life. So minimum 100. And then you may sort it by price. So basically I sorted it, and that's the cheapest one with our preferred stats. And there's not a lot of options actually. And now I just need to decide what deal is good for me. For example, just for fun, let's pick this one. Well, there's a bunch of better belts around, I want to have some fun, so we teleported instantly to his hideout. I can drag and drop it, and that's it. Perfect experience for us. So why did I bought this belt? Well, to have some fun and drop bunch of exalts on top. We will see what can roll. Right now we got two suffixes, so there's one more suffix that can roll on this belt, and it's not it. We just rolled a little bit of thorns. That's a bad one, but 255 armor. That's a perfect tier 1 armor roll. I'm using armor class, and that's not like super perfect belt, but this one will go long way. It's like super good. And the last one is stun threshold. Oh my goodness, I'm just taking this, and that's amazing. Amazing and great belt. Now my resistances is almost fixed. I will fix it later, of course, with my rings and amulets, but why I don't care right now, because of course don't forget, you can socket your gear and drop a bunch of runes on them. So fire, cold resistance fixed by runes. This belt just showed you that, well, it's really important to try and get a best deal possible. Sometime don't forget that this is just a game and you need to have fun. But if you're going for really best deals, then let's talk about level 3 trading. So for level 3 trading, you want to be high level already, and that's basically where you're making your final perfect build. You can do it piece by piece, but I like to actually just assume all my gear is nothing, and then I use my resistance and stat tracker to build character from scratch. Basically, as the baseline, we want exact resistances to max them out and some stats, depending on what your skills, and I got this tracker if you need. In my Discord, it's not super like big and important, but technically you want to understand how much resistance you want on all your gear. But again, it's important for us to understand how to find best gear possible for best price. For this example, we will try to find good ring. Rings are super important if you want to min-max your damage. We're not looking for a particular ring right now, but again, we can search for it. In previous example, I was searching for utility belt, and if there is non-utility belts that satisfy my stat filter requirements, then I would just remove this name from search and I will search any belt. So that's basically how it works. Now we will search for any ring, just for example. And what we are looking for is loads of stats. I'm looking for exactly perfect rings for my build. For example, on PoE to DB, I will check modifiers, and for my build, I want on ring to have extra lightning damage to attacks, extra physical damage to attacks because it will be converted to lightning, and I want increased lightning damage. This will be my perfect prefixes. My perfect suffixes will have at least 2 resistances. Now, if I start to add everything in stat filters, here's the problem. For example, I'm looking for fire resistance and lightning resistance, and there's 1500 rings like that. But also maybe I want cold resistance. I want ring with all resistances. There's 400 rings like that. But what if I want at least 20 resistance on each of these? There's 8 rings like that right now on the market. So there is an options. But if fire resistance is not important to you, you may find kinda similar options for just one exalted orb. That's the difference. And difference in price is extremely big. And if you mess up these parameters, then you will get no results. Or basically not mess up, but there's no rings like that on the market. That's where comes my third way of trading when you're looking for perfect items. And it's stat group. Basic stat filter will look for items with specific modifiers, and they always should present on your item. You can still use them. For example, I want to make sure there's increased lightning damage. Make sure to instantly press search, so to double check that you used correct modifier, because if there's no modifier like this for rings, it will show you blank page basically. So there's rings with increased lightning damage. But I will add stat group count. That's super great stat group. How it looks like? Basically, we know that there's 3 different prefixes and 3 different suffixes, and we will create 2 stat groups. First one will be prefixes. Again, I want lightning damage to attacks, and I want physical damage to attacks. This won't show you anything, but what you want to have is minimum required count. If I press 3 over here, there will be no results. Reason is there's only 2 modifiers selected over here, so I need to press 2. This will show me 40 results. How it works? Basically, right now it shows rings that have at least 2 modifiers from selected list, and you can go over 2 if you're using stat filter with increased lightning damage. We can turn it off and have increased lightning damage in count. Right now all these rings will have increased lightning damage and added physical and lightning damage. But if I search again, there will be 2000 rings possible, and they always will have all 3 modifiers, because my count is 2, but I will change it to 3. Now we get back to our previous results. This means you want to use stat filters if you always want to have certain modifier, but you use count if you want at least a bunch of them. We can specify different parameters over here, so let's do it for our resistances. And for example, we looking for a ring with lightning resistance, with fire resistance, with cold resistance, and also with chaos resistance. And let's say we want at least 2 modifiers from our prefixes. Now we get 7 rings possible. Never get loads of results, and now I just need to pick one of the 7 rings over here and decide, do I want to pick something from them basic. Of course, I'm looking for perfect rings on day 1 basically of the league, and it's not possible. Results are pretty bad right now. And that's why again, you may just loosen your count and get a lot more results and get a lot better deals. Just make sure you just pick, for example, at least 15 resistance, you don't want less. And that's a random number, you need to determine this number by your character. Actually, I would never go below 30 at this level of trading. And let's see, best increased lightning damage. That's the best possible ring we may find. This one looks great. It got insane fire resistance, because it's also over here. Lightning resistance, a little bit of life, lightning damage. So it's not super good ring, but again, that's basically how you look for good stuff. You can do it for different weapons, you just mess around, and that's how you find your perfect equipment at this stage. You just use count. If you can't find anything, just reduce your count and try to search like what is on the market right now. I'm using this way, and I will show it in my end game build guides. Probably will do it live. Basically, we'll build character from scratch on a budget. You probably will have question how to price your items. Well, you can estimate items by placing them on the market. For example, you can use your premium stash tabs. You can drop items over here. To sell with premium stash tab, you need to make it public, and when it's public, you can price items individually or set price for wall tab. you just drop item over here and then check yourself this item on the market, try to find out like where it lands, or you can use price checkers. I'm not recommending any price checker honestly, but that's basically what I'm using over Wolf right now, and it just highlights our crossbow. We can select different parameters, maybe like search by DPS. So crossbows with 460 DPS will go from around 3 exalted orbs, and I really recommend to check out trade when you're trying to find out exact pricing by using instant buyout feature. So idea is simple. If you want to estimate trade by in-person search, I just explained you why it doesn't work, because someone may, for example, drop items and just price them 1 exalted orb, like loads of good crossbows 1 exalted orb, but he will never sell these crossbows. Instead, he uses this pretty fun feature on the website. Let's say you got your search result and there's no items right now for you, but on website you may use activate live search. When it's active, basically when any item appears of your search, to show you how it works, basically I will clear filters, we will use crossbow, and let's search and activate live search. We're searching for crossbows right now. So basically every second someone adding crossbow, and yeah, it just breaks. Site broken. You need to make better searches. But that's the idea. Guy underprice your items, he waits when something good, for example crossbow with 500 DPS will arrive at league start, he will buy it for 1 exalted orb, because someone just not playing crossbow. Someone playing mage, he got good crossbow, he use price checker, he sort by DPS, he checks, oh, okay, it's just 3 chaos orb, no problem. And he sells this 3 chaos orb to this guy. Then he will sell them or resell them for more, I don't know. This happens basically. So try to estimate prices on instant buyout only. There's actually one more stat group which is pretty good, and it's called not. If there's lots of results, but lots of results showing that something that you don't need, for example, you know that you don't need lightning resistance, you put it in not. It will show everything with at least one modifier from this count, one modifier from this count, but not with lightning resistance. That's it. So that's how not works. Also, there is one more modifier, and everyone who is good at Path of Exile already knows it's weighted sum. Weighted sum is a great way to trade and to actually find good items. Easiest way to explain how it works is to use resistances as example. Basically, there will be one more box where you can enter something and you allocate points. Resistance is easy because it's easy to allocate points. To basic resistances you are allocating, for example, 1 point. To all elemental resistances you are allocating 3 points, because it will give you 3 resistances per 1 point. And we will search for rings. Now in this search box there will be sum. So this ring will give us 14 total resistances. As we can see, there's only cold resistance, but 14. The highest sum on the market right now is 102. So this ring will give us 102 total resistances. And weighted sum is pretty good to, for example, find nice underpriced items. We can see that guys pricing these rings pretty high, and it's 120 exalted orbs, this one is 50 exalted orbs, and this one is 25 exalted orbs. But this item will give us 99 total resistances. It gives plus 15 to every, 34 to fire, 20 to cold. While it's a really good way to find items, and the problem that you need to really understand how much points to allocate where. While example with resistances is pretty easy, when you're looking for damage, it's a lot harder. There is a ways how you can estimate your points. Basically, when you're deciding what is better, to increase lightning damage or, for example, attack damage on your amulet. There's no attack damage on amulet, but it's just a random example. You want to inspect your skills, and you will see that 10% lightning damage will give you this increasement. Basically, you just subtract 1635 from 1660 and estimate how much power you gain per 1% of lightning damage, and then do the same for attack damage. But basically we can see right now that attack damage is more reliable. There's no attack damage in amulet, of course, and that's again why it's not super perfect example. You need to really dig deep and find out, is like physical damage, lightning damage is what you're looking for, and if there's something cool on passive skill tree, you may estimate like your weights. More professional way is to actually use path of building. You will allocate your passive skill tree points, you can craft your custom weapons, you will see loads of numbers, how much damage dealing, the skill between 2 different monsters. But guys, if you're just playing the game and having fun, you don't need this. Everything you need is just these 3 levels of trading that I just showed you, and some way to estimate price for your items. So you can buy items and sell items. And I hope this video was helpful. I wish you loads of divines and see you in the next ones.